Imagine buying this like incredibly heavy titanium vault, right?
Okay.
You bolt it to the floor, you lock it behind two steel doors, set up a massive alarm system, and you just sleep perfectly soundly.
Right. You feel totally secure.
Exactly. But then, years later, you go to open it up and the vault is completely empty.
Wow.
And why? Because the actual combination to that vault was written on a tiny sticky note that you just casually threw in the trash.
Which is such a brutal realization.
Right. But that terrifying scenario is actually the daily reality for thousands of investors right now.
Yeah, it really is.
So today we are exposing the massive blind spots in how people think about Bitcoin cold wallets blind spots that are quietly vaporizing billions of dollars. So welcome back to the One More Bitcoin channel.
It's a critical topic today.
It really is. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack 7 widely held beliefs about cold storage that will absolutely cost you real money if you aren't paying attention.
Yeah, you really cannot afford to ignore this.
For sure. And hey, if you want to make sure you don't miss future analysis exactly like this, take a second to subscribe to the One More Bitcoin channel right now, just before we get into the core of today's deep dive.
And we should probably establish right up front, this is going to be a pure plain language analysis of risk and custody.
Right.
There is no hype here today, no price predictions, and, absolutely no crypto slang. We are strictly looking at the mechanics of security.
Exactly. And just a quick note for you listening, if you are someone who prefers reading, you can go to onemoremoney.com to read the full article we're basing this on. Just click the link in the description below.
It's a great read.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Okay, so let's look at the landscape right now. According to the data on the One More Money blog, Bitcoin is currently trading near $64,559,
Right.
which is roughly 49% below its October 2025 high of $126,080.
It's a significant pullback.
Definitely. And when we see a massive drawdown like this, I mean, the natural investor instinct is to just pull assets off exchanges and shove them into cold storage, right? You just want to batten down the hatches and protect what you have.
Yeah. And, that instinct makes perfect sense on paper.
Sure.
But the execution is where the catastrophe actually happens. People are migrating to cold storage, but they are carrying over a fundamentally flawed mental model of how the technology actually works.
Because they're treating it like a physical wallet.
Exactly. And just look at the real-world costs from just the last 12 months. We saw a firmware defect drain more than 1,800 Bitcoin.
Wow.
We saw a fake wallet app steal about $1.8 million, and, a multi-sig loss that wiped out roughly $1.5 billion.
Wait, hold on. 1.5 billion with a B.
With a B, yes.
How does a cold wallet fail that catastrophically if it is supposed to be, completely impenetrable?
Well, that is the crucial point you have to understand. None of those incidents were a failure of the Bitcoin network itself.
Okay.
They were all failures of belief about what the hardware actually does.
Interesting.
So to understand how $1 billion just vanishes from an quote-unquote impenetrable device, we first have to agree on what the tools actually are. Because people constantly mash 4 distinct concepts into one.
Right, so let's unpack those 4 concepts so we're not flying blind here. What are the specific pieces of the puzzle?
Okay, first, there's a blockchain.
The public ledger.
Exactly. It is not stored on your device. It lives distributed across the internet, recording which addresses control which coins.
Right.
Second, you have the private key. Now, this is the cryptographic authority to move coins. Whoever holds this key spends the funds.
Okay, and then third would be the cold wallet itself, right? Like the physical piece of plastic and silicon you buy from whatever company.
Correct. And this is where the confusion starts. The cold wallet is purely a signing device.
It doesn't hold the coins.
No, not at all. Its sole purpose is to hold those private keys in an isolated environment and, stamp digital signatures without ever letting an internet-connected computer or phone actually see the keys.
Makes sense.
And finally, fourth, you have the seed phrase. This is the sequence of words, your physical recovery backup, that can regenerate every single private key on any compatible device.
Okay, so to put that in a real-world context for you listening, the cold wallet isn't a vault holding physical gold bars.
Right.
It is more like a highly secure pen. Like a pen that signs checks for you without ever letting anyone, not even the person holding the check, see what your actual signature looks like.
Oh, that analogy perfectly separates the tool from the asset.
Yeah.
And separating those two things immediately dismantles the first massive misconception from the One More Money blog. Myth number 1 is the belief that if I lose the device, my crypto is gone.
Which, I mean, is such an understandable fear, you
Right.
know?
Completely.
You get this sleek piece of hardware in the mail. It looks like a futuristic flash drive. And you just instinctively think all your wealth is tracked inside the plastic.
It definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
But like we said, your Bitcoin is recorded on the public ledger.
Right?
So if you drop your hardware wallet in the ocean, you have simply lost a tool. You just buy a new one, type in your seed phrase, and your balances reappear.
But this is where investors make a super dangerous practical inversion, I think.
Oh, the way they guard it.
Exactly. They get the plastic device and guard it like a hawk. They lock it in a wall safe, they set alarms, they treat the plastic as the most precious thing in the world.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they leave the piece of paper with their actual seed phrase sitting in a desk drawer right next to their paper clips.
It's wild.
It should be the exact reverse. The plastic device is totally replaceable hardware. The paper seed phrase is the actual asset.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which logically brings up the next blind spot.
Yeah.
People assume that because the device is a piece of hardware isolated from the internet, it is invincible. So myth number 2 is a cold wallet is completely safe because it is offline.
I mean, on the surface, that makes sense. If it's not connected to Wi-Fi, hackers can't reach in and grab the keys. That sounds pretty bulletproof.
It sounds bulletproof, but it only removes one specific attack surface, the remote extraction of the key.
Okay.
It doesn't remove anything else. Let's look at that cold card firmware defect from July 2026 that was documented on the One More Money blog.
Yeah, walk us through that.
So nobody touched the victim's physical devices, nobody phished them. The issue was a build configuration error from 2021 that caused the device to generate seeds using a weak software random number generator instead of its true hardware entropy.
Okay, time out.
Mm.
What is the difference between a software random number generator and hardware entropy? Can you explain that like I'm 5?
Sure. Think of true hardware entropy like rolling 1,000 physical dice on a table.
Okay.
It is mathematically impossible to predict the outcome. That
Right.
gives you a highly secure 128-bit key strength.
Right.
But a software random number generator is just a computer program trying to act random. Because of a coding error, the randomness collapsed to roughly 40 bits.
Wait, from 128 down to 40?
Yes. It went from rolling 1,000 dice to rolling about 10.
Oh, wow. So a well-funded attacker didn't even need to steal the keys. They could just use massive computers to guess the combination.
Exactly. They brute forced the math. And that error cost more than 5,200 addresses over 1,800 Bitcoin.
That is brutal.
And if you think you're safe just because the hardware functions correctly, consider the $1.8 million counterfeit Sparrow wallet app on Apple's App Store in 2026.
This one is crazy.
Yeah. 3 different holders downloaded a fake app, trusted it, and typed their recovery words directly into their computer keyboard.
So the wallet hardware was sitting safely in a drawer, completely offline, but it couldn't stop the user from handing the keys directly to a thief.
Exactly. The wallet protects the key, but it cannot protect human judgment.
And that human element is just everything. So what happens if you realize your judgment lapsed or your physical environment failed and you lost the paper backup?
Well, the common assumption, which is myth number 3, is that if the paper is gone, the funds are gone forever.
But if you still have the functioning device and you still have your PIN in to unlock it, you can fix this, right? You just have to be incredibly careful.
Yes, you can.
So if I'm listening and I'm in that situation, what is the exact emergency protocol?
Okay, panic is your absolute worst enemy here. The first rule, do not make a digital copy of whatever fragments of the phrase you might remember.
Right, no screenshots.
Don't type it into your phone, don't take a picture. You must follow a strict migration sequence. Step 1, you generate a completely new wallet with a brand new recovery phrase on a verified device.
Okay, got it.
Step 2, send a tiny test transaction to the new wallet and confirm it arrives. Step 3, move the remaining balance across. Step 4, you have to treat the old wallet as completely compromised and physically destroy it. And step 5, back up the new seed phrase offline.
And I really want to add something crucial here for you listening. Move those funds directly from your old self-custody wallet to the new self-custody wallet.
Yes.
Do not route your balance through an exchange as a middle step.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Doing that just introduces counterparty risk and exposes your funds to unnecessary transaction fees and delays. Keep it on chain, wallet to wallet.
That concept of keeping it quote-unquote on-chain is incredibly important
Okay.
because it debunks another massive misconception.
Which is?
Myth number 4, The idea that crypto is downloaded into the device like files on a USB drive.
You know, this one makes so much sense intuitively.
It does.
If I move a photo to a thumb drive, the photo is now physically on the thumb drive. So people think if I send Bitcoin to my Ledger or Trezor, the Bitcoin is literally inside the plastic.
It absolutely feels that way.
Right.
But as we established earlier, the coins never leave the public ledger. The network simply updates to record that your specific address controls that amount. Your device just proves your authority over that address.
And knowing this actually saves you from a very specific type of heart attack.
Oh, the zero balance issue.
Exactly. Let's say you plug in your hardware wallet, you open the app, and the screen just shows a zero balance. Your stomach drops immediately.
Panic mode.
Right. But if the coins don't live on the device, a zero balance doesn't automatically mean you've been robbed. It is usually just a software glitch or a connectivity issue, or, and we see this a lot, the software looking at the wrong derivation path.
Yeah, that is a very common scenario that causes totally unnecessary panic.
Wait, let me stop you there for a second. What exactly is a derivation path? Is that like looking for a specific apartment number in a massive building?
Oh, that's the perfect analogy.
Okay.
Your seed phrase is basically the master key to the entire apartment building. But your funds might be sitting in apartment 101, and your software glitch caused it to only look inside apartment 201.
Ah, I see.
So the funds are perfectly safe on the ledger. The software just asked the ledger the wrong question.
Okay, so self-custody is sounding incredibly technical and maybe a bit stressful.
It can be.
A lot of people listening might be thinking, this is too complicated. I'll just leave my coins on an exchange. It's fine for long-term storage.
Right. And the One More Money blog identifies that specific belief, which is myth number 5, as the highest cost item on the entire list.
Wow, the highest cost.
Yes. You really have to understand the stark difference between an internal company accounting entry and actual cryptographic control of a blockchain address.
This is critical because when you open your exchange app and you see a balance, you are basically looking at an IOU.
Exactly.
You hold a claim against that company. You do not hold the coins. And if that company faces insolvency, your access is just gone. I mean, we all remember Mt. Gox back in 2014, where 850,000 Bitcoin just went missing.
Yeah, and creditor repayments for that massive disaster didn't even begin until 2024.
A full decade later.
A decade. But honestly, the FTX collapse in November 2022 is an even more deceptive example of this risk.
Oh, the math on this is brutal.
Right. You might see recent headlines about a quote-unquote 100% recovery for FTX creditors and think, oh, well, the system works. They got their money back.
Right. But let's actually look at the math here. Under U.S. bankruptcy law, your claim is valued at the dollar price on the day the petition is filed, right?
Right.
So on November 11th, 2022, Bitcoin was priced at $17,036.
Which means the creditors eventually got roughly 105% of that specific dollar value.
Yes, but as we mentioned at the start of this deep dive, Bitcoin is trading near $64,559 today.
Exactly.
That is nearly 3.8 times the petition date price. So in actual Bitcoin terms, those creditors took a devastating loss. They got their $17,000 back while the asset ran to $64,000.
Yeah, it's painful.
You hold a claim, not the coins.
So leaving it on an exchange carries massive counterparty risk, but taking it off the exchange and cutting corners is just as bad.
Which brings us to myth number 6.
Right. Myth number 6 is the belief that the seed phrase is just a password, so you can save it digitally. This is arguably the most dangerous item we will discuss today.
Because people think, I'll just pop these 12 words in my Notes app or take a quick screenshot or put it in a password manager so I don't lose it.
Yeah, it feels convenient.
So why is that so catastrophic?
Because a password can be reset. If someone gets your bank password, you just call the bank and they freeze the transfer.
Right, there's a safety net.
Exactly. But a recovery phrase has no customer service. If someone reads it, they have direct, irreversible control of every address that wallet derives. And infostealer malware in 2026 is a highly industrialized business.
What does that mean exactly, industrialized? Like, are hackers sitting there manually looking through my files?
Not at all. It is fully automated. These programs are specifically designed to hunt for phrase-shaped strings in cloud drives, photos, drafts in your email, and note-taking apps.
So it's basically just software scraping everything.
Yeah. A photo you took of your seed phrase 5 years ago can just sit in a cloud backup, completely forgotten, until an automated scraper finally finds it.
And we are talking about a very specific format too, right?
Yes.
The BIP 39 standard uses 12 to 24 words drawn from a fixed public list of 2,048 words. Hackers know exactly what words to look for.
They know the exact pattern.
Right. But when generated and stored completely offline, it is mathematically beyond brute force reach.
Which is why the best advice is to stamp these words into solid metal.
Right, not paper.
Paper is great for redundancy, but if your house floods or there's a fire, paper is gone, metal endures.
Okay, so let's assume you do everything right. You have your metal backup, you keep everything offline, you guard the phrase. The final myth from the One More Money blog is the belief that once your assets are in cold storage, you are simply invincible.
Yeah.
And if I'm listening to this right now, I'm probably sweating a little. I thought doing all those steps meant I could finally sleep at night. Are you telling me I can do everything perfectly and still lose everything?
Well, it comes back to what the hardware actually does. It protects the key, but it does not evaluate the transaction.
Oh, this is the Bybit hack.
Exactly. Let's look at that terrifying Bybit hack from February 2025, where $1.5 billion was lost.
Walk us through it.
So, attackers managed to inject malicious code into a safe wallet developer environment.
Okay.
The front-end interface, meaning the actual computer screen the human signers were looking at, displayed a completely routine transfer of 30,000 Ethereum.
So the humans looking at the monitor thought they were just authorizing normal business.
Yes. But underneath, the hardware devices were secretly being fed a malicious delegate call to an attacker-controlled contract.
I think I need another analogy here. How does the screen say one thing but the device does another?
Think of it like being handed a receipt at a restaurant.
Okay.
The screen you are looking at says you are paying $30 for a steak. You agree, so you tap your credit card to the machine. But the barcode the machine is actually scanning is for a $1.5 billion wire transfer.
Oh my God.
The device did its job. It scanned the barcode flawlessly and kept your credit card number secure. But the barcode itself was a total lie.
Wow. And the hardware basically just displayed structured parameters that no human being could decode, right? Just a wall of hex code.
Exactly. The signers approved it, thinking it was the stake, and the $1 billion was gone. The hardware kept the keys perfectly safe while dutifully signing a catastrophic transaction.
So the device signs what it is fed, not what the computer screen behind it promised.
Precisely.
How do we synthesize all of this? If I'm listening, I really want to know the overarching strategy to actually protect myself.
It all comes down to the custody hierarchy. Every single one of these 7 myths stems from one root error: treating the physical device as the asset.
Right.
If you hold the correct shape in your head, that the asset is a record on a public ledger, and you merely own the ability to authorize changes to that record, all of these vulnerabilities become obvious.
So asking, which hardware wallet should I buy is actually the wrong opening question.
Totally.
It's not about buying a product. It's about building a secure system, a system that includes secure seed generation, durable backups, and strict transaction verification.
Exactly. Let's lay out the honest case for and against cold storage based on the One More Money blog's analysis.
Let's do it.
On the bull side, holding your own keys completely removes exchange solvency risk.
Right. No more FTX scenarios.
Exactly. That is the mode of failure that has destroyed the most value in crypto history. Plus, self-custody failures are traceable on-chain. The underlying cryptography of Bitcoin works flawlessly.
Yeah.
And you can build structural fixes, like using multiple signatures across different hardware manufacturers to eliminate single points of failure.
But we have to present the bear case fairly, though.
Oh, absolutely.
When you take self-custody, you don't remove third parties, you just swap them.
Right.
You trade exchange risk for unauditable vendor risk. You are heavily relying on a firmware team and a chip supplier. As we saw with Cold Card, defects can remain silent for years.
And perhaps most importantly, there is zero recourse.
Zero.
If you mess up, there's no insurance, no transaction reversal, and no customer service desk to call.
Which means that for some people, honestly, relying on a regulated custodian or a spot ETF is a perfectly legitimate, honest choice.
It is an honest assessment of your own ability to manage a distributed security setup.
But if you do choose self-custody, there are actionable steps you have to take. Let's break down the action plan from the One More Money blog, grouping it into phases so it's actually manageable.
Sounds good.
Starting with the setup phase, you have to buy direct from the manufacturer.
Never use a third-party marketplace.
Right. And never use a device that arrives with a pre-printed recovery phrase.
From there, you generate your own seed on the device and verify the restore process before you put any real money on it.
And back it up on durable metal, offline, in multiple physical locations. No photos, no cloud drives.
None.
Then we move into the everyday use phase. You always send a small test transaction to a new address before moving a meaningful balance.
And relating to that terrifying Bybit hack, read the device screen, not the computer screen.
That is so important.
If the device cannot clearly show you what you are approving in plain text, just do not approve it.
Yeah.
And finally, create an inheritance plan.
Oh, yeah.
Write down how someone you trust would recover the wallet if you are no longer around. Because dying without a plan quietly destroys more Bitcoin than hacking ever will.
It really shifts your perspective, doesn't it? Self-custody is not a passive product you just buy and forget about. It is an act of responsibility.
That is the core takeaway today. There is a massive fundamental difference between protecting a private key, which the hardware is very good at doing, and verifying a transaction, which is a discipline that you, the human being, must actively perform every single time.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over.
Right.
We've talked extensively today about how the current math protecting these keys, the 128 to 256 bits of entropy, is basically unbreakable right now.
Right.
But as computing power evolves, specifically as quantum computing becomes a reality, will the fundamental way we generate and protect these keys have to change?
Oh, that's a massive question.
It's looming on the horizon for the entire space.
It is an essential question, and one that forces us to realize that security is never a finished state. It is a constant, ongoing evolution.
It really is. Now, as a mandatory reminder for you listening, cryptocurrency is highly volatile and speculative. Prices can move sharply at any hour, and you can lose some or all of the capital you invest.
So always consider your own risk tolerance before making any financial decision.
Thank you for watching. We genuinely appreciate you taking the time to unpack these complex systems with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
If you are interested in crypto investing and want to make sure you don't miss future videos, please subscribe to the One More Bitcoin channel. We'd also love it if you could like this video and comment below with your thoughts on today's topic. Have you fallen for any of these myths? Let us know.
We read all the comments.
See you again in the next Crypto Deep Dive.